Chandra.
Thanks, Amalda. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Good afternoon, our esteemed guests, Bhaskar and Vikram. Pleasure to have both of you on this panel of all our ERA members. It's really interesting to have such formidable people of such formidable backgrounds with us today. So the topic is also very interesting in terms of artificial intelligence in recruitment. So the way I'm sure both of you have come prepared with your own notes and stuff like that, but a few questions which I had in my mind, I thought I will articulate them, and if you could help answer them as well during the course of the discussions. Is we see that AI is already getting incorporated in job portals and new age ATS systems to a large extent, and all ERA members to some extent are using ATS, and job portals, of course, they are our lifeline. So what are the recruitment activities that have or can come under AI? Are there instances which you know of where successful deployments of AI has happened in corporates or in recruitment firms? And has that helped screening and selection and turnaround times, which is supposed to be the main benefit available from AI? What are the challenges? And finally, is this AI deployment in our recruitment industry a boon for recruitment firms or a bane for recruitment firms? So that is something which I thought I will ask you. And one final thing which is there in my mind, do you anticipate that there will be organizations who can offer AI-based screening services to subscribers, which are corporates as well as recruitment firms? So, screening as a service, and away from, I mean, whether recruiters or corporate can go to them and they just churn out, you give them a bunch of 50,000 CVs and they give you 500 CVs in return by using AI algorithms. So that is something which I had in my mind. So over to Vikram, if you want to start.
Thank you, Mr. Chandra Kiran. Mr. Addesh, hope I am audible. Mr. Addesh Pandey.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Amalda. Thank you, Mr. Nagarajan.
Thanks.
Distinguished guests, seniors, the recruitment fraternity. A very good evening to all of you. First of all, let me thank the Recruitment Association giving me this opportunity to speak and reach out to you, because I'm seeing people from Ahmedabad, Bombay, and many parts of the country, and it's a proud privilege to being with us and share my views and the practices the industry, particularly in L&T. It's a proud privilege. Thank you so much for bringing me on. Let me start with today's topic, artificial intelligence, and how it is going to shape up the recruitment industry. Let me start with very basics, elementary things on artificial intelligence. Then I'll go to the challenges.
Bhaskar, I have joined
Then I'll switch over to the challenges and how artificial intelligence is helping the recruitment fraternity as well as talent acquisition and other industries. My co-panelist Bhaskar, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, everyone.
It's a pleasure to being with you.
Thank you.
Today.
I was in a wrong link, so sorry for that.
No, not a problem, not at all. So let me start with a famous quote that human beings are rational animals. It's the famous quote by Aristotle. And when we talk about artificial intelligence, we always think it's a new age thing. It has just started, landed kind of thing. But these are the things which are being started long back. Starting from Leonardo da Vinci, the great what you call thinker and doer, to Aristotle, and how it has evolved. So basically, if I speak about the 4 dimensions of artificial intelligence, it starts with the human and the rational being. Humans are rational. That is the common thing which in these 4 dimensions. If I put think and act in the axes, and in the other axis, if I put human beings are rational, the combination of 4 is today what we are seeing, the artificial intelligence and machine learning. When the machines start act rationally, then the magic starts. It creates such a glue, it creates such a value that it reduces your time, it reduces cost, tremendous impact. So let me start with a small live example, how artificial intelligence has changed the complexity and how it is using in a lot of organizations. Let me start with my own experience and story. Just 2 years back, I heard my colleague, talent lead Namita. I saw her sitting one day in the office, and she was very quiet, and she was rubbing her eyes, and after some time she started putting some eye drops in her eyes. So I thought something wrong. Then after some time I asked her, Namita, are you okay? Whether things are under control. Then she said, no, sir, my eyes are paining. Then that's why I'm putting the eye drops. I said, what happened? Now by afternoon, I would have seen more than 100 CVs. That's why my eyes are paining. I said, that is something terrible. You should take rest, something and all, or you should come with some kind of solution where you should see only 10, 20 CVs. That is 2 years back. The thing I'm telling you, the life thing, the kind of thing I have experienced. And today, same lady, when she is sitting and in the as Chandrakiran was telling that whether to see 500 or 1,000 CVs, if you are if it comes from a lengthy brand for a say data scientist or analytics profile, hundreds and hundreds CVs will come. How to choose and pick the best CVs? And we have tied up with a lot of agencies who are providing such screening facilities through the artificial intelligence machines. So that is how today the job has become so simple for recruiters like Namita and recruiters all over the world. Now let me come to nitty-gritty about artificial intelligence. Sometimes we think artificial intelligence is something machine learning, and there is no difference between machine learning and artificial intelligence. Let me clarify you. It all starts with deep learning. I'll tell you how it flows. It's deep learning, then comes the machine learning, then on top of that is artificial intelligence. So what, in nutshell, I can say, artificial intelligence is the set under which the sub-functions are machine learning and you have deep learning. Data scientist is another kind of a branch which comes and falls in this 3 areas. Now I will tell you how differentiate between machine learning and artificial intelligence. I spoke about the screening of CVs and all. That is nothing but machine learning. The machines are picking some keywords and picking some your tenure, your time, your qualification, and shortlisting. Whereas artificial intelligence is a bigger one. Like today we have driverless cars. It is run by artificial intelligence. Today we have metros, the trains which are driverless metros. That is artificial intelligence. We have an industry, the aeroplanes which are running with autopilot mode. What we say, that is artificial intelligence. So artificial intelligence is the biggest scheme of things. Now coming to again why we are talking so much of artificial intelligence today, because let me tell you, because many of you are veterans in the industry and very much well seasoned. You have seen 4 or 5 generations of work. You have seen the baby boomers, the Gen X, Gen Y, and now Gen Z, all kind of generation you have seen. So my common observation is, I am going to make a very good statement here. Over the period of time, the jobs has changed from farms. People earlier, in the 30s, 40s, 50s, were working in the fields like cultivation and agriculture. Jobs have shifted from farms to factories. The industrialization started. You have seen the cement plants, the API plants, the other electric plants, power generation. All those factories started. Jobs have shifted from farms to factories, then factories to offices. A lot of corporate offices started coming, IT offices. Then from offices, now it's to cloud. Today everything is virtual. Today we are talking, we are meeting virtually. We have virtual onboarding. We have virtual interviews. In fact, we have virtual job fairs. That is what is happening. All these things are happening due to technology. The advancement of the need of the hour is embrace technology. The need of the hour is speed and scale. Today, if I am talking about, now my colleague, she is now, kind of handling 5,000 CVs. In 2-3 days, she will come with best 5 or 10 CVs. That is the scale. That is the kind of speed we are working. So this is how the evolution and the help. Slowly, I will get into deeper and deeper and tell you how it starts. But let me tell something more about my own venture, L&T Next, because all of you know what is L&T and all. But let me tell you from my kind of side of things how this L&T Next formed and how we are using artificial intelligence in a big way and also helping not only in the business and also in recruitment. As you all know that L&T is 83-year-old company. It started in 1938, and in 4 or 5 years back, if you ask what is L&T is all about, everybody will say it is one of the best or one of the largest conglomerate in engineering and construction space. But in the last 4 or 5 years, if you track our progress, we are very strategically shifting our gear from engineering and construction company to an IT company, information technology company, or technology company. So, proof is that today we have 4 IT companies with us. 4, not 1, 2, 4 IT companies. It all started with L&T Infotech. Then we have L&T Technology Services. Both these companies are listed. They all got listed in the year 2016, 4 years back. Then last year we acquired Mindtree. That is the 3rd IT company in our kitty. And the most recent one is the L&T Next. L&T Next is another IT company where we emphasize on product and solutions and platforms. All these things, what we do with our domain expert in construction and all, we have experimented a lot of mechanization, automation through IoT and AI and ML, and found a lot of value in to our customers, to various group companies. What we started doing? We started doing monitoring our assets, how much kind of store materials are lying in our stores and all. So we have kind of tagged all those materials and can have a list of materials in our headquarters. These are the requisites, or these are the kind of availability in our stores. That gives a lot of advantage. Same way we used analytics, because if you see in construction and engineering, 40% of our things are from materials like steel, cements, and all these things. If you see, our business is 70,000 crore revenue, 30-40%, like 20,000 crore kind of procurement will happen in materials of purchase of this commodities like steel, cement. And if you kind of save 2 to 3% or 1% even, it is a huge amount. It is 200 crore every year you can save. So what we do? We analyze, we do through artificial intelligence thing, that when the steel prices will go up, considering the oil price and the stock exchange and other steel markets. So the best moment we purchase our steel and stack up. We don't wait the price to fall or the price to increase. We know when the price will be the most rational one. That is how this kind of thing we started in L&T Next. Today, a big way, and we want to go to market and do similar kind of products and similar kind of services to other industries. And mostly we will be focusing in the US and Europe market, because there is the enterprises and companies which understand the value of all this AI ML kind of thing. And now today, let me talk about the kind of recruitment we do, the kind of talent we hire. Today we are 400 employees under L&T Next. Ask me what are the skill sets. The 50% of these people are developers, like .NET developers, full stack developers, Angular, all those IT services company. The kind of skills required we are having, 50% are like that. Another 20 to 30% are analytics people, people from data science and data analytics background. Rest are IoT and services. And all these we have structured in such a way. We have a pool of people coming through training kind of thing. 15-20% of our employees, they come through training, through graduate engineer training, postgraduate training. And as I said, this particular business started 1 year back. So maybe we would have recruited more than 100-150 staff in the last 6 months. And during COVID time, imagine we have recruited more than 50 staff in the last 2-3 months, 50 staff. And this is possible due to technology. Again, we are not doing any recruitment through physical interaction, or interviews are taking place virtually. And thanks to AI, the CVs are getting shortlisted. So a couple of advantages what we are getting from it are, first of all, the screening. The artificial intelligence screens the kind of CVs what we ask for, and from that we give it to the hiring manager that these are the best suited CVs and all. And more or less, the accuracy is very good, and that is why we are able to close so many positions so fast. The screening part which has taken care. We have introduced the chatbot thing. When the candidates, they want any queries that when will be my second round of the interview, or when I am going to have my test, analytical test, or test on the coding. So we can chat on a real time. It's not through WhatsApp or any group and all. There is a portal that in our portal they can chat and inform that they can know that where the position of their employment lies. That is another advantage of it. Then candidate experience. We are finding a lot of positivity around people, because the guys who are not shortlisted, immediately auto-generated mails will go that we are not able to shortlist your candidature due to non-availability or some certain skills. We have better candidates, and that is the most main area. As a recruiter or talent acquisition guy, you will know that how many times the candidates, they ask when I will get my second interview, am I selected, can you give some feedback. That's why lot jokes goes around, like HR ko pucho to bolenge we'll come back to you. That is the standard answer. That come back to you think is now history. Now it is like yes, you are here. That is the kind of revolution. That is the most important employee or candidate experience you can have when you give the feedback to them. And we are releasing the offer letters online. We know that when the person is getting the offer letter, when he's signing, all goes digitally and electronically. So that is the kind of experience we are giving the artificial intelligence piece. So 3 things I said: the screening of CVs, the candidate experience, then the chatbots, and some other benefits which are coming out of it is, imagine earlier we have to send 5-page, 10-page offer letters. Now everything electronically. A lot of administrative cost and administrative things have aged out. Today we don't need to send a original offer letter kind of thing. It's all digital kind of thing. There is interviews are happening online. So we are not asking the person to come to our office, sit and meet us. That kind of during the pandemic, nobody wants to move around and go for an interview, physical interview. Everything online. That is another way of looking at things, that a lot of cost saving has happened, and time also I spoke about. So I would like to hear something more from Bhaskar. I think these are the certain things I wanted to tell, and after that, if you have any questions when Bhaskar finishes, I would love to answer them. Thank you so much for this opportunity. Over to you, Mr. Chandrakiran.
Thanks, Vikram. Very nice hearing that you have actually implemented AI in your systems and you have found the benefits of it, which is great to hear. So over to you, Bhaskar, to hear your point of view and your thoughts around the AI part in recruitment.
Thank you. Thanks, Vikram. First of all, I want to thank to ERA and Amanda and Chandrakant Bhau for inviting me. Really, it means so much to me. And today's topic is a very contemporary in a pandemic time. Everything is a digital is happening. But before I start my discussion, I just want to quote one thing. In our corporate world, intelligence is artificial in a corporate world. So everything is artificial as of now. As a human resource professional, we have two types of HR. One is a transitional, other one is a transformational. Yes, in transitional HR, we are optimistic about the role of artificial intelligence and in improving the HR function. Function is very bold and underlined. See, here I am only speaking about processes. Bunch of experience what we received and don't want to repeat day-to-day processes again and again and trying to replicate some common activities inside virtual assistant. As already Vikram shared with the esteemed panel, we have also developed auto processing in screening resume, sourcing assessment, interview candidate, and final one shortlisting candidates and onboarding formalities. What we are doing at this moment. Augment the data. We have done the augmentation of the data and content of the resume according to our needs, where system get better and better over time. Since entire process is in system, there is no subconscious biasness. That is the best point about the AI and ML. Through AI, we are discriminating name, age, gender. These all are processes which we are following. But I always mentioned we should know the purpose of any function. In my organization, I always say we should know the purpose. What is the purpose? Hiring managers should learn more about AI so that we can leverage the preparing entire recruitment process, which includes your JD and then JD to KRA to KIP, KPI. This he can convert or she can convert. Required to do total evaluation of JD, which is a very important and the first step for the AI in recruitment or a talent acquisition. We should know what is the JD, exact words, knowledge and skill. Also identify the keywords. As I mentioned, that keywords are the very important in JD. At this moment, AI is not widely used in our organization, also in a talent acquisition, but after this pandemic, usage is expected to jump dramatically. We are doing a lot of things which I want to share with you during my conversation with you. But over next 1 year, I feel this is one of the best tool in the organization, which we will use. And we'll save a lot of money, lot of time. Especially we'll save a lot of money, time on that. Hiring manager would most likely AI to help them achieve higher quality and productivity is required. That is, they want AI to help them find more qualified candidates. See, in our organization, the sales is the pillar of the organization. In any organization also, the sales is the pillar of the organization. So we should define the entire JD accordingly to what is the purpose of that position. And they want to reduce the time they spend shifting through resumes and lot of work, lot of admin hassles are there. which is reducing the time. The major barrier is the cost. Adopting AI tools, I feel there's a major barrier is a cost. The second most barrier which I feel is a scarcity of HR professionals who are currently skilled in this area. After working 23 years, I feel job security is oxymoron. Yes, there is a two major negative aspects are there. Dehumanization of entire process, discrimination due to bad programming, machine learning models. Dehumanization factor can solve by transformation of workforce to an asset, where we feel human capital should be the company's greatest asset. It can make or break the business strategy. And it's a key differentiator also, if you ask me, as HR. A lot of people say, as Vikram said, a lot of jokes are there about HR. They only do the Rangoli and all these things in Antakshari or engagements. But no, as in my organization, HR is really in the business. So when we are doing the sourcing the company's intangible assets, including human capital and the culture, there we require human intelligence and human touch and the experience. There comes the experience. Otherwise, everything AI and ML can do. Discrimination due to bad programming or machine learning models. We need expert in the team. We don't need beginner at initial stage of implementation of AI or ML tools, who can take entire accountability of the process. This is again a costly affair. But now this job requires certain technical skills. Now the hiring manager is not the hiring an HR. The hiring manager should know certain technical skills, programming languages, and expertise in specific industry, as well as softer skill like communication and sales ability that is required. AI-equipped talent acquisition solution well versed with the keywords. Keywords is a really hashtags, as well as wide range of synonyms, related phrase, abbreviation, and misspellings. These are the experience I got when I was implementing AI tool. By leveraging ML capability, the system is posed to learn and better refine its search result the more it used. Infantry Finance we are investing big time in data analytics using AI and ML. As we all know, data is a new oil, new fuel. And using these technologies, we are able to figure out the exactly behavior of our base, which in a turn helps us to keep our NPA rate down. We are a loan lending company. NPA matters for us. Also using AI and ML, we are working towards completely automating our underwriting mechanism, which help in reduce the turnaround time from logging to disbursement, from inward to outward. So that is the thing which we are still working. And since we are a fintech company, so a lot of digitalization is happening. Even in our organization, our vice president IT is not an IT, he is a digital technology. So everything is now we are putting AI and ML. In that, only HR is, I can say 100% is in the tool, AI and ML. That's all from my side, which I shared with it, and shoot a question. So I'm ready for that.
Okay, thanks, Bhaskar. Good to know again that you have also tried your hand at implementing AI and ML and have had a fair amount of success, but also good to hear the challenges which you mentioned of implementing AI blindly. So there are challenges which all of us need to be aware of in terms of the scarcity of HR professionals with requisite skills, the dehumanizing factor, and the removal of bias which is there, which can creep in if not properly programmed, and of course the cost. Now, one which I have related to this is because both of you are coming from corporate organizations, and one challenge which people around the table here who are recruiting firms is of course the cost. So, I mean, while corporates like yourselves can afford to invest in AI, I don't know what is the cost involvement in deploying something like this, but do you anticipate or do you expect we as service providers should also be investing in AI, and will we get better benefit for it? Because in the current situation where there is immense pressure on fee structures that we try and get, will that improve, or how can the return on investment, if we do make an investment, be possible?
This question is to me.
I mean, either of you can answer. So.
Okay, I'll answer you. See, Chandrakant Bhau, I want to share with you one thing. At this moment, when we are doing AI and ML, we are using AI and ML tool. So yeah, cost is the one of the factor, but our USP is a digitalization as a whole organization, if you ask me. So everything we want to be digitalized. If you see a big picture round about after 2 years or 3 years, when my number will be 500 to 600 employee count, when due to this corona pandemic, we have not done, or we have parked a lot of our project at this moment, but still goal is there, plan will change. So if you ask me, yeah, definitely the cost factor, which I will see like that, what the cost and what the time consuming I'm right now in this recruitment tool and all, and how much the external vendor will give it to me, what time, because the time is the main thing, and what the database they have. Because like if you ask me after 1 year, if my India calendar is in front of me and there's a lot of spots are there. So management is saying, CEO आया बोर्ड से निकल के बोला भास्कर कल तेरे को जम्मू खोलना है at this time, then I need definitely, I will not say vendor, I need a partner. I need a partner who can immediately solve my problem. See, why I will hire any partner? Only to solve my problem. So if my partner is saying, yeah, Bhaskar, tomorrow in 12 TAT, my TAT is 12 hours, 12 working hours, you will get a fine everything. Your interview will conduct, your assessment will done, your only you have to generate the offer letter. That's the stage I'm saying. I will be the person who will say, yes, Chandrakant Bhau, immediately I want it. So that time what will happen, that time if the services are good, then definitely the company will not bother about the cost also. Because you know my pain area. Why I will go to you? You know what customer want. You know what type of services I have to give. If any escalation is happening to you from my team or from your team to me, then it is okay. But there is a problem in the services. Then I will again analyze the cost, which I'm doing with my recruitment partner right now. So recruitment partner will convert into AI or ML or any word you can use, they will become the partner. So always in my career, I never said vendor to my recruitment partner, to my payroll partner. They are my partner because if they are performing, I am performing. If they are not performing, then I am not performing. Because you are taking my all pain. I'm here to discuss the strategic thing with the organization. How from 500 to 1,000 we will go. So I think I have given my answer to you.
Yeah, Chandrakiran, I would bring some more, very interesting perspective because, considering most of you or the audience here are, from executive recruitment space, Bhaskar has given a good point about, partnering thing. I will take it a little further. It's not partner. It's like shared services. Today, most of the organizations will have their shared service center where there is payroll, there is onboarding thing and all. Going forward, I will not be surprised. I will be seeing partners like you people are coming as shared service centers, and as Bhaskar said that my success is their success is my partner's success is mine. I'll add a couple of things. You spoke about how to incentivize or how to make it rate what should be the kind of ideal mix and all. Going forward, what I'm seeing, it's going to be most of the things at 0 to 5 years experience and all will be volume recruitment, and it will happen to run of the mill from the or within the department, within the HR of the organization and all specialized recruitments. Okay, that AI cannot do. AI cannot, give you a shortlisting of 20 say HR heads. Okay, there will be a time like today if you ask Amalda that tell me I want a HR head in his fingertips, he is like live Alexa. He will say Santrupti Mishra, then 20 names he will tell, 10 names in 10 fingers. Santrupti Mishra, then Prabir Jha, then what else? He can tell 10 names, 20 names.
You can count your name also.
Absolutely. Okay, my name also you can say. Okay, so top 10 HR guys in the country. See, the job is not over there. The job starts when you know the person as a human being. Whether you will fit into the role, that the machines cannot determine the ethics, the integrity, the value system, the culture systems. What will differentiate is how much horizontally and vertically, depth-wise, how much the person who can scale up and do the job. So what think going to happen is most of the leadership hiring will happen through this route. Okay, like you have to take not a rate contract and all. It will be kind of contract where it will be given in 3 or 4 life cycles. Like 3 months of his joining, 6 months of his joining. Bhaskar came with the point that if you give good services, we'll retain them. What is the definition of good services? The good services will come if the person is profitable and giving result and value to you. It will the incentives, the payment should come in like you will get some 10% on 6 months time, 1 year time, 2 years time, and that should be a bonus. If the person is like bringing lot of value, you should get a in our in industry, in our company, when some project director or somebody finishes the job before time and with good quality and safety measures, we give them a project completion bonus, a bonus something. So that kind of thing also should come up, and we will encourage a win-win situation where the recruiters or the partners or our shared service center is evaluated or is being kind of measured the talent he brought in, and over a period of time, how that talent has turned into business or profit. That kind of model will work. Coming to cost, Bhaskar, you are thinking you have to invest a lot of money and all. I'll tell you how we are saving a lot of cost today due to the shared service center kind of thing. Many routine things have gone mechanized, automated, like the onboarding, like releasing the offer letters, calling candidates. It can go in a drop of a single touch of a button. So many things can be done. But now with that kind of thing, when we are having 3 or 4 junior level employees, today with one person we can do it. So the cost saving in terms of manpower is there, cost saving in terms of space. Today, everybody is working from home. How long, God knows. Space is a big time, investment. If a person sitting in office and needs table, chair, then AC. Even in our scheme of things, we charge every employee some amount of overheads. So that overheads also will get reduced. So the investments we are going to put in technology, in recruitment, is going to yield a lot of benefits in the long run. But it will happen only in the entry level and 0 to 10 years of experience field. We have to simply depend upon our partners and recruiters and specialists in the long run. From my side, yes, I'm done.
So if I have to get the gist of what you said, is AI can be extremely helpful in the bottom of the pyramid type of recruitment. While for the senior level, you still need people, recruiting partners like us or search consultants to identify the right profile people with the right cultural fit for the organization. So it's good to hear that. So we at least we have some good work which we can do. Yeah, Bhaskar.
One thing I want to share with you. See, when I already mentioned that we need an expert in framing the JD. So I will give my partner the exact algorithms and the scorecards. The partner will give me the rating on the basis of that, everything, all the series which we are working right now. So assessment and everything. And I don't want that, I don't want a bulk of CVs. From partner, where I'm saving my time is I'm receiving only 4 CVs. Out of that, we are selecting 1. That type of services we need from the partner. And if it is expensive, it is okay. It is okay. Because this is a thing which is saving my time. My time means company's time. That's all. Okay.
Yeah, thank Bhaskar. I think Marcel had a question. Marcel, please.
Yeah, Mr. Marcel, I think I'm mute here.
Sir, you are a mute.
Sorry.
So, Mr.
Can you hear me now? Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have a question for both of you. Thank you so much for giving us an overview. My question is very specific. The backbone of our industry are young recruiters who do not come with any kind of training. They are trained on the job largely. What would your advice be if they were to be trained on what aspects of AI can they be trained on? Mr. Naik, you spoke about adding a large number of people. What are the kinds of things that you would want to include in their training pedagogy, for example?
Bhaskar, I'll start with.
Yeah, I will start with that. When you're hiring manager, you are hiring again, hiring manager, hiring. Very good word. So there you need a person. Definitely you will not get an expert. So you are an industry veteran. So you have to train them how the expert can work on that. So you have to share your experience with them. This profile, how to do a mapping, how to do a designing of the entire JD. So this is the thing which is required and which can only the industry veteran can give to them. if you ask me. So you hire a beginner, but these beginners need a designated mentor. These are the things. Another is a technical skill which I already shared with you. Programming language, they know it. These are the new things which they will learn from doing things. And expertise in a specific industry, like my industry is a NBFC. So you require to be a very specific on the industry. You should know what is the NBFC need, how the sales function, how the support, credit, operation function. So these are the things they have to learn. And already I shared with you that the communication skill and the sales ability is required. You should know what you have a two customer here. One is your candidate, who is your one customer from you are buying things from him, and another customer is your client where you are selling that product. So these two things the partner should require to align. These are the things which require to align. And in that, lot of things are there, a lot of technical things are there, which I really, now I learned a lot of things from them. Whether related phrases are there, abbreviations are there, misspellings are there, a lot of things are there. These are the transitional things. There's a laundry list I can share with you.
Marcel, I would add a couple of more things what Bhaskar said. To start with, today's youngsters who are coming to talent acquisition or recruitment, this area, they're well informed. In the college itself, there is the coding things in the MBA institute. Mostly we will hire people from MBA institutes and all. So one is HR analytics. Few years back, we have never heard of something like HR analytics, diversity inclusion, wellness. All these things now started, and they are much. These kind of things are also included in the course curriculum in the MBA curriculum itself. We latest what we heard that the talent management, and there was something on analytics kind of thing. Now today, if you ask me, these people are well networked. Okay, if a senior recruiter or talent acquisition professional will have 30,000 LinkedIn followers, the student they themselves they are following all the best of the best in the industry, because with a lot of information there, people have understood that your net worth is your networking. Your net worth is your networking. The moment you are kind of following some CEO or head HR or some other people, CXO level people, that means you are in the radar. People know. And today Twitter is so kind of famous. So much of the people are using Twitter as a medium of recruitment. So many interesting arts I am seeing in Twitter. Those young generation or the young people who are coming into recruitment thing, they should know how to post nice arts and eye-catching things in social media. The handling of social media is very, very important. And they should not come with only one mindset that there will be machines, there will be CVs and all. Beyond that, what I was talking about, how to know the person will fit culturally, what is his health quotient, how he is keeping his health, the parameters. Today, if you ask me, the single most important thing in CXO level hiring will be the health of the person, the well-being, the mental health, that kind of things. So the young people, they should also go to multiple sites and see the person's health. You can understand the peculiar behavior in the social media, how the person does. You don't need assessment centers or development centers where your competencies are being assessed. So youngsters should know how to measure the person's readiness or wellness, that kind of thing. And they should not look single-minded. You will get today. If I talk about data scientists, the immediate response will be all the good data scientists will be in Bangalore and Pune, because there are the industries They are the IT companies where these talents are available. But why? Why Bangalore and Pune? Why you are not thinking of, even smaller towns? Okay, people are, doing, fantastic work and all. How you'll know that this kind of talent is available, say Muzaffarpur or Aurangabad, or a small, place in Silchar or Cuttack, Odisha or Bhubaneswar? That is how the networking and the knowledge of social media and keeping abreast with what happening. So my, suggestion and take, Mr. Marshall, to youngster will be keep your eyes and ears open, see what is happening all over the world, be active in social media, and you should be, ready to learn the things. The technical skills are already being given at the education level or curriculum level, like analytics courses are there, how to write small codes, Python or R, how to do algorithms, how to write algorithms. So you will be equipped all those things. But it's not alone, recruitment is not alone artificial intelligence. The social intelligence part should come. You should be emotionally, intelligent enough to understand, as I said, the newer things like the wellness, the diversity, where the talent comes from. All these, will make you all around, the good recruiter or a HR professional.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks, Bhaskarda and Vikram, for a very enlightening session. I will now hand it over to Prakash. Unless there are any other questions.
Is there any question which is there? You see, Prakash?
I have one question.
Yeah, please go
This is
ahead.
more related to actual use of AI, addressed either to Bhaskar or to Bikram. What has been your experience? You have been going in for more advanced automation and machine learning. A lot of CVs must be coming to your organization and all going through the AI before they get parked into various databases. What is the level of acceptance of the CVs by the AI? Are there rejections? If there are rejections of CVs, then what are the reasons for the CVs being rejected? Has any analysis been done on that?
Bhaskar, you are taking, or I will start?
Vikram, you start.
Yeah, Prakash, this is something, again, it comes to the quality of the CVs coming and all. Okay, today, if you honestly ask even a recruiter, when I say that, my colleague Namita was seeing, 100 CVs in a day, she will not spend more than, 2 to 3 minutes in one CV. Okay. Or I said, even to the very higher side, maybe 1 minute, the attention span, the things which a person can understand from the CV are very less. Today, CVs are ready-made available. People can write their own CVs. There are, kind of organizations or their agencies which are preparing CVs. So when you speak about or talk about what is the, kind of assessment of, analysis of the rejection of the CVs, frankly speaking, nobody would have done. I have not done. Let me be very honest. I have not done anything analysis of the. I trust the machines. I trust the top 10. If I am ready getting 10 CVs, for example, we did in my previous role as head talent acquisition, we had to hire IR professional, industrial relations professionals. Okay. For that, when you put the ad, 300 CVs, 300, 400 CVs will come in one day. Okay, somebody who has done admin job, okay, or in a facility management also will apply in the higher kind of thing. I trust the machine because the machine picks, and I see the pedigree, the companies and qualifications. That's good enough because it reflects in the screen. So I am not bothered about the rest 200 CVs. I know that this 10 because I need 5-10 solid guys. If I am getting 20 CVs, I am happy. So my experience is, I gave a simple example of the admin role. Same in kind of technical roles also. There will be CVs very much doctrined. People would have written I have done this, that, and all. But the machine is also smart enough, and the machine is learning. The best part is artificial intelligence. The best part is over a period of time it will become old, mature. It's like old wine. It will become sweeter and sweeter. The results will be sweeter and sweeter. So the thing is, it's unexperienced. You are absolutely right that, we might be, there will be pilferages, 5-10% of the good CVs we find. That's when we, do face-to-face interviews. So it is a learning process. We as an organization or a startup or any, new things have its pitfalls and all. Definitely going forward, all these things will be taken care, and maybe 1 year down the line, I'll be able to answer you even in a better manner.
Thank you.
Yeah. I was expecting this question, so I was well prepared with that. On 19th August 2020, I tweeted at almost 8 o'clock in the evening, software can't recruit people. I was so frustrated, and I posted it in Twitter. Software can't recruit people. It only helps to do the filterization. Human intervention required. So after that, I don't require any caption. I am really not happy with at this moment with my AI, which I have implemented. That's why again and again I'm sharing things. We need an expert on that, and that's a costly affair. So definitely when we will go to a big volume, right now we are experiencing 2-3 cases with these, but I'm not so happy with that. But definitely feature codes are actually,
No,
hello, yeah. Definitely in future, I can give you some good input about that. But at this moment, that is my feedback about AI. Might be I have not did that so much work on that.
Vijay, you have a question?
I have a very simple question. See,
Yeah, because it's good that, because I think we require simple answers also.
what exactly is AI? Is it a program through which you create a program? How does it look and feel? And because it's all esoteric for me. That so is there a product? Is it a software product, or how you develop it? Does it require programming? How does it learn? So the touch and feel aspect of the product, and which are the suppliers and vendors who give this product, and how long it takes to test, because the requirement in a year you will handle 50 requirements or 50 job descriptions. So how the AI will keep learning about each new job? So these are some of the issues in my mind.
I would give you the answer, Vijayji. If you want to touch and feel about the product, you go to the IIM job. Okay, apply any position, they will ask you the assessment. So you will get that touch and feel how AI do.
Which one? IIM job.
IIM jobs.
Okay.
So you will get it there. Regarding vendor, Chandrakant Bhau is there. He is the right person who will tell you. There's a lot of vendors out there right now for payroll and recruitment. So he's the right person. So for touch and feel, I will say you go to the IIM jobs, you will get the touch and feel of how AI works.
Okay.
So Vijay, we have a couple of great vendors who are doing excellent work in this field. One is Darwinbox, and another.
Okay.
So they are basically startups, started in Bangalore, and they are providing this JD screening and screening of CVs things, and the
AI and ML and the techniques that we have, I feel that the not the confusion, but the dilemma a person like, say, a recruiter like Vijay and all we have is that in what way they are going to help us reach our goal. And the goal is to give the right person who is able to add value to the organization ultimately. So that's what the goal is all about. So any other question which is there? I don't know what time, how much time you have, Chandra?
Yeah, I think we are through 6. I think it's 5.
Okay.
5.
Yeah. Any other question which is there?
No, not to my, I mean, I don't see it on the chat box.
AI is also picking from the keywords. So if the keywords are intelligently planted, the chance of someone coming up in the selection, though he doesn't fit in, is also high. So it's not that it can be a foolproof system.
It's not. You need a human intervention on that. End of the day, human will decide whom to take. Because culture, you can't get from the AI.
May I?
Not only culture, I'm saying, I mean, because what Bikram mentioned, there are people who are getting CVs written by external agencies. And I have seen some of the CVs talk about this guy, he's like man, God's gift to mankind. He used to have everything. And then if keywords, as Vijay rightly said, are planted, then such CVs will emerge and obviously it will be a disaster. Because the moment you start meeting that person, you know that half of the, in fact, the candidate himself or herself does not know what has been written about him or her by agency.
Mm-hmm.
That is the
even I experienced in Thomas profiling also.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there are tools, you see, basically, but the human judgment comes in, and that's what it is. That in spite of the best of the efforts and with a world-class agency like Aegon Zehnder, they have to apologize that they did a wrong recruitment in giving the candidate for the worldwide Pepsi head chief. So you have who had to be fired by the board in a matter of 7 to 8 months, you know. So those things happen. You know, and those are going to happen. Maybe an AI would be able to help us take better decisions. That's what I can only say. Yes, over to you, Chandra.
I have no other questions. So